Hello, everyone. My name is Chandler Jordan. I am the owner of the Walltima. If you're seeing this is because I have decided to update everyone on what's going on with the Walltima currently. As of July last year, 2023, I had taken it to a show in um, Southeast Ohio, where the team I'm on, which is Team Liberty Base, the owner of the captain of the team, Jace Fennell, he was hosting an event. I drove the Walltima down there the day prior to stay with some friends in the area, and unfortunately the transmission went out. Being that it is a Nissan and it is a first-gen CVT, it is a very expensive operation to basically repair the transmission, or replace it, I should say. Repairing is really out of the question. At least that's what I've been told. Maybe not entirely, but the local transmission shops around here would not repair it. They would just replace. So, after an extensive amount of time and decision making, I decided the best solution was, in fact, just to keep the vehicle. I didn't want to abandon all the time I have spent that has been put into the build. The Walltima has gotten a little bit better. I haven't posted really any updates for a while now. It's probably been a few years since the last video I posted. So I guess I can just kind of want to put this all out here, what I'm doing, especially in the long run of things, probably explain who I am even in the first place. So we'll just get started with that. So first is, like I said, I'm Chandler Jordan. I own the Walltima, and that vehicle is been around in my life since 2012. It's a Nissan Altima. It's a 2.5S. Although heavily modified, hence the name Walltima. It's modified into a wall around 2018, and it has been just getting bigger and better every year since. I'll give a little rundown of the history of the Walltima in general. I acquired right out of high school. I graduated about 5 months before getting the car. I had a Chevy Monte Carlo before that, and then after acquiring the Altima, I wanted to make it unique right off the bat, and I just got a fresh love for bass at the time, so I did whatever I could to immediately try to put a system in the car, and I did. I actually ended up saving some money up and had a shop up in Toledo, Ohio, near where I live, and they put a system in my car for pretty much what was the time was all of my tax money, basically. And it was a great purchase because I loved it. It was two JL Audio W012s, the V3s, on a JL 500 X. I believe it was an XD series. I feel like that's right. And it was in a prefab. It was an A-Trend box. Did good, but it wasn't something I would compete in. And then I met a friend of mine, local here to where I live, who seen videos that I was posting on Facebook and stuff like that I was like admiring my bass and letting everyone know how much I loved it. Well, oops. Well, that was interesting. And he reached out to let me hear his system, which he had a Chevy Impala. was walled with 218 FI SP4s. Was nuts compared to where I was to where he is. It was like a whole world of difference. Like it was like a 4 or 5 levels beyond my comprehension. I remember being so blown away that I just immediately started telling everyone that I knew, all friends, anyone that I knew, about how nuts this was. I wanted everyone that I knew to hear how wild this was. Because what I had did not touch this. And there was this slow hunger building up inside that I wanted to eventually reach this level. I think at the time it was unrealized quite there, but like there was something that was just like, be louder. That's all it was like. It was like a little voice inside my head that I wanted to eventually get to this level. So from that point, I began making modifications year after year to do bigger and better. I believe I switched out to the 15-inch JL W0V3s in 2015. I did one at first, then I got a second one, and then I tried making a box for it, which unfortunately was a fail because I made the box too big for the trunk. A very common issue, especially when you're starting out. I also was making a really hard effort in learning all the knowledge that it took to become proficient in car audio. So I was taking in a lot of information about electrical and how ohms and all the terms like volts and amps, how it all ties together. Because a lot of people would get that all confused. Getting gauge wire, like a certain gauge. What is the correct lingo? Some people don't, I think, pick up a lot of things, and I decided to try and do that first. Is make sure I knew exactly what everything was, because I was inexperienced growing into this, and I didn't want to feel like I was dumb. So that was one of the things I focused on at the time, and I learned a lot. I ended up getting myself my own car audio tools, such as a DD1, which is a SMD product. If you haven't heard of Steve Mead, I highly recommend you check him out. Got a DD1. I also bought a TermLab Magnum, which is the sound pressure meter that is used in the competitions, the official competitions, all across the U.S. and internationally as well. It is the best, pretty much it is actually the best sound pressure meter there is. So I had a huge investment in that. Me and that same friend put in half and half on it. He ended up giving me basically his right to carry over and keep the meter in my name, and now I solely own it. But basically, that has been my godsend, is having the right tools and the right equipment, because without those, that was basically half the battle, more than half the battle, really. So everyone started coming to me. I'd had people come up to me that that were being told by their friends. Start tuning their systems. I've done it. Trying to mark up the idea of whether or not I wanted to charge for it or not here and there. Sometimes I'd get suckered into doing it for free. Sometimes I'd get people to actually pay me money. And, I think, what the heck, in the long run, we're all in it for the same reason. If I can make money out of it, I'm trying to, but that's really what, set me to drive, is the fact that I was not only providing a commodity for myself, but providing the ability to help others. And I think that was what helped drive me further into the base game, is because then people inside, I'd go to shows, I'd have that equipment, and I could let people borrow it for the show or whatever. And that's how part of it, the reason why I got onto the team I'm on now. I met Jace Fennell, I believe, in 2017 at an IFO competition. I had just switched over from my JL 15s, and I think I was running a single Rockford P3 15. and it was 2 ohm, I believe. It's where I think I was a dual 4 ohm, and I had it wired at 2 on a Rockford. I want to say it was a 1200.1. Yep. Well, I decided at this point I was going to run all Rockford. I became immediately impressed with how well Rockford made their equipment and their amps and all their uh, accessories that they made. I became a diehard fanatic at that point. So I started going Rockford, and I was doing really impressive numbers out of my car. The Walltima was doing, I believe, a 144th a kick, which is the USAC in the USAC organization at IFO, which was really good. On that was at 600 watts too, so it was like mind blowing. Good lord, I keep losing that light. It was mind blowing how impressive that was. And there Jace was in his Jeep Liberty, that was I believe it was a Sundown ZV5 on maybe it was like a 2500 watt amp. I don't really remember at the time, but he was impressed because we were doing like the same numbers. Well, in terms of SPL performance, so we were like in the same class, competing against each other, and we realized, wow, we have like the same exact number, but obviously the Walltima had an edge just because that Rockford was really, the box made for it was really impressive. So that's kind of how I met Jace. Further down the road, he joined a team because he had a box made by Trey Cooper, Team TC Designs. He joined them, and they had a huge group. Anyone that had a box built by Trey Cooper, if you wanted, he had an offer to join his team if they competed, and a really great group of guys. I met a lot of really neat, cool friends from associates from Jace, because I would basically follow him around because I became so caught up, and basically we would always be together. So it was just like he was my base friend. We always did stuff together. I would go ahead and send demos that he was getting in and just followed him around. So from there, I realized how quickly that Jace was building himself up and really getting out there. And we kept pushing ourselves to do better. And then he got his wall built by Trey, and that thing was nuts. And just kept getting bigger and better. And I'd help tune his build. I became a huge asset to him because I was always willing to take a trip down to his house anytime. And what was most amazing thing to me was how his family is like the best family I've ever seen. Like, they're so supportive of him, so supportive of everything he does, and they're always there to go to the shows with him. He's got a beautiful wife who he has helped him, and they have a daughter now. It's like impressive to see how people work in such a unit, that it really made me proud as just even a friend, to see how well he has gotten his life. And I don't know, I'm not trying to sound sappy or anything, but I believe that I'm envious of his life in a way, which is a good thing because it's not like whatever. But fast forwarding through all that, he started his team. I was the first member to be offered onto the team, took it, and I felt like I always lagged behind the rest of the group because my system was not quite. I was probably the baby in the group compared to where everyone is. Not saying I was far behind, but I was never really where these guys were, because a lot of these guys had multi-thousand-watt sound systems, multiple subwoofer, cone area is crazy through the roof. I just felt like, I didn't really have much of a stature, but I still enjoyed my time. Um, and, still on the team today. As far as I know, he has taken his direction to be, he's more of a business owner now. He's got his own, the Patriot build, which is ridiculous. It's the first build that ever made me tap out, which is an impressive feat because I have a high tolerance for bass. But yeah, it's something that I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in the future. Which brings me to here. So the Walltima. We should probably we'll talk about that. So the Walltima is a walled off build. It has currently 2 Sundown U Series 18, the V1. They're dual 4 ohm, wired at 1 ohm, strapped to 2 Rockford Fosgate T2500 BDCPs. So basically it's like half ohm per amp, which is pretty low in terms of wiring impedance, but I did that because I was trying to calculate the possibility of having box rise, which in my case, actually, with the Sundown U series, did not happen. So the U series had like almost no rise. I think I'm at like 0.8. I've seen 0.89 or something on the impedance meter on making a hit with the sound pressure meter, which was ridiculous. So as you can expect, there are some minor hiccups, and by minor hiccups, I mean every once in a while, if you don't get the subs warmed up enough, one of the amps likes to shut off during play, which drastically reduces the output. But once it kicks back in, man, it's a monster. So much so that at the same time that I lost my transmission, I was also in the market for trying to get a new air conditioning compressor because my air conditioning stopped working, which honestly was like the biggest L of all, because like when it gets hot, especially at bass shows, bass guys know, I mean, some of those guys made the sacrifice to lose AC for just getting another alternator, and I will never make that decision. I always try to figure out something else, another way to get another alt in if I have to. But yeah, so my AC went out. I was trying to do that right before the transmission went out. And then at the show, I was getting comments about how my windshield was looking pretty, like, it was flexing a lot. Like, there was a lot of flex on the upper half of the roof. So I knew I was like, getting to the point where now I'm risking blowing a windshield. And wouldn't you know it, after having it towed all the way back to my hometown, and it sat in the garage for about a month, I had a friend come over to buy my old subs that I had from the Walltima, which were a pair of DC level 318s. And while I was here, I decided to give him a demo. I was in the garage, and lo and behold, right in the middle of that demo, it's broke the windshield. I was like, wow. I actually blow my windshield at like 154 decibels, which is pretty low. Like, most people start breaking their windshields like 160s and up. That never gets old. I'm going to have to figure out how to prevent my screen shutting off. But basically, yeah, I was like, holy crap, I blew my windshield. Like, it's like a double whammy. So there I am, trying to like figure out how to do all this. Going through personal life, challenges currently, all the way up to this day. And I've been lucky enough to have family members and whatnot to help me out and finally get to where we are now. So, current per day, here's what's happening. The Walltima is getting fixed. The transmission is going to get fixed, repaired, along with some other maintenance that needed done on the car, hopefully. I'm also in the process of getting I had a 390 amp alternator shipped to me last year by Mike Singer. Unfortunately, I had issues with trying to put it in, and I kept having an issue with the stator. So I had it sent back in one time and had to send it again. So I sent it in about 2 months ago, and waiting to currently hear back from Singer about what's going on, because we're going to try and put a 390 amp in a factory style case, which has never been done before. The highest alternator you can get for my vehicle is a 270. So the fact if we can get a 390 in there, it's going to be insane. The first Walltima ever to actually have a 390 amp alternator ever put in it. So hope you guys stay tuned. It's going to be a nuts. This summer is going to be nuts. I'm going to tell you that now. I am anticipating the crap out of what's going to come. What's coming. We're going to rectify the issue with the windshield breaking. One of the things that I had on the list was we're going to reinforce the roof to prevent the windshield from breaking again, including making a full wood roof and also putting in bracing. So we're going to have a stripper pole in the Walltima. It is going to be I think it's going to be a very necessary upgrade, because it's going to improve the in total, like the output of the actual wall itself too. And not to mention, I haven't even had a chance to actually tune the wall. I've only had it in basically like 2 configurations with the port, which my port is from a company called Big Ass Ports. And I had it in the smallest configuration, which was the 8-inch long port. So with that being said, once we get the Walltima back from the maintenance, we're going to fix the roof, make sure we're going to add, fully, make it a full wooden roof, add the stripper pole, and it's going to be rocking. Like, I got a lot of people that I've kind of hyped up my vehicle to. It sucks not having a base vehicle when you are a base head, because it really feels like you're losing a little bit of your element in a way. Like, you're not completely who you should be. I don't know what it is. It's like a excuse me. It's almost like you're missing a part of your person. Like, it's such a huge part of who you are that I feel like it changes your personality having it. So I think that this is going to be a really excellent opportunity to really see this new era of myself come out, even, so I can't wait to see what the future holds. I'm expecting sometime in the month of May for all this to be done. If I could make it to Slamology, who knows? I haven't bought tickets or anything, but I think that there's a possibility I could go. Not guaranteeing anything right now. I mean, I've actually never missed a single Slamology since 2015. So with that, I'm just hoping that I'd have the opportunity to do that, hang out with friends, but time will only tell. Until next time, though, I'm hoping to regularly update on what goes on, probably even post video updates on what happens when the Walltima gets back from the shop it's currently at and everything going on. So stay tuned, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.